Hi, it's Dave. So, one of the things I like doing in my parenting journey is I like to look back from the future. In other words, I like to imagine, let's say, 20 or 30 or even 40 years from now, if I'm still living. And I look back at my present day right now, and I would try to ask the question, like, how do I want to remember my time? Right? And I try to live a life and I try to place my priorities in a way which I won't regret it long term in the future. One of the things I am convinced of is that there is a super valuable and important relationship between parents and kids. Now, I will confess that I don't completely get it, but deep inside, intuitively, I know that there's something sacred and mystical and perhaps even forever in some way between the parent and the kid. Now, there's a lot of things that, I try to invest in and I value my time to invest in. But with my kids, I completely just understand on a different scale with a different level of clarity that it will and it is truly one of my most valuable investments and ways to spend my time. Now, one of the things I don't want to remember my parenting now, looking back in the future, is I don't want to be stuck and I don't want to live a static life and I don't want to live a life with my kids where it's only routine and there's little adventure and it's just filled with boredom, for example. And I think it's kind of easy in today's structure of how societies are formed, where you have your house, which is kind of almost a mini castle in a sense, and everything is structured in a way where it's meant to be predictable. And oftentimes I think we can get stuck into a routine and into a staticness, and it kind of sucks out the adventure and curiosity and excitement out of life. In order to break this, I feel like it takes sometimes a lot of intentionality. And for us and for me, sometimes it takes pulling out my family from kind of the routines of life and taking them through kind of rough training. And that's what I consider kind of camping or RV travel in a sense. Now, I've been doing this is kind of, I think our third year right now. My kids are still quite young, ages 3 and 6. And so they're kind of growing up a life where, a few months out of the year, they're traveling, to different places in RV, and in the future it might be different countries or different types of travel as well. But it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, my kids love it because it's filled with adventure and finding new things and discovering new places and being wowed and in wonder. However, for me as a parent and for my wife, there's a lot of extra things that come alongside trying to do this crazy RV travel with young kids. One of the things is there's a lot more uncertainty, right? Like, for example, we have to get our schedule. We have to have campgrounds or campsites and places to reserve. And sometimes our schedule will get canceled. Sometimes things will break on our RV, right? We have to get it repaired. And there's a lot less comfort in RV travel versus a house. Like, for example, we live in this RV and we've got this tiny, tiny bed. I mean, it's smaller than a full-size bed where two people I have to live or sleep. And then everything about it is just like really tight. And it's just sometimes amazes me that a family of 4 can live in a tiny, 25-foot camper van. And a lot of that stuff is not the easiest thing to do. Another thing is it's tough to get work done. Like, we're in such a tight, confined quarters that I have to send my kids and my wife to a supermarket or something just in order to, let's say, record a video or to get my thoughts down. But overall, there's a lot of downsides, but I think the pros and adventure far outweigh that. For example, by being on an RV trip, by visiting all these national state parks and going to these amazing places, we're living life as an adventure. And my kids are understanding that there's so much excitement to life, so much to learn and discover, and so much things to do. One example is this past week, we went to the Petrified Forest National Park, and we're just learning about how, wood can be petrified, can become basically rock. And it's just amazing stuff. And we're learning this every couple of days, we're just seeing something completely amazing and mind-boggling. And this is what I want to do. I want to plant deep inside their value system, deep inside their understanding, their foundation of how they see their world. I want to plant this sense of adventure and this value of adventure. Now, some people might say, oh, your kids are so young, they'll never remember all the trips you take. That's not the point. I don't even care if they don't remember or remember the places we go to. That's not what I'm shooting for. What I'm shooting for is something deeper. It's beyond and more important than just memories, like shallow memories. I'm shooting for the deep inside, the foundational kind of value system and the worldview that they carry of how they see and interact with the world. And I want to plant inside them a value to crave, to hunger, and to embrace adventure, to embrace curiosity and learning and discovery, and to take some risks in doing so, right? And talking about risks, there's actually risks of doing nothing, right? Let's say you're just stuck somewhere not having adventure or curiosity. You're risking a lot of the stuff that you can't learn and that you can't benefit from. I can be in a static place, but try to create adventure from nothing. For me, it's more about the values and what I'm trying to plant into my kids. And it goes back to how I started this video. I'm looking at things from 20, 30, 40 years in the future. When I'm at this age, let's say it's far older than now, I'm looking back at how I raised my kids, and I look back at the relationship, right, I had with my kids, but maybe hopefully I still have with my kids. I want to see that I tried to give the most important values, right, the most important treasures of life, so they can carry that for the rest of their lives, and they can take with them the fruits of adventure, curiosity, and learning, and taking risk. Anyways, hope this video has been helpful. Go ahead, like it, and subscribe to my channel. I'm talking about parenting from different angles, not just the traditional view. You can also check out my investing channel, Dave Lee on Investing. I'll go ahead and link it in the video description. All right, we'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks.